This Wednesday, Origin Game 2, Moneyball.com.au is throwing a $10,000 guaranteed prize pool, $15 entry. To support the show, go to Moneyball.com.au and sign up today. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm here with Gareth Widdop. What's going on, bro?
Nah, not a lot, mate. Just finished training for the day, so coming for a yarn.
And, how you been, man? I mean, the St. George, it's been a weird season, like you put together some good games and then you might struggle for a bit. How you been mentally to the start of the year?
Yeah, it has. It's obviously been certainly probably inconsistent is probably the word. We've played good in patches and, other stages played quite poorly. So, at the moment, we've had a fair bit of travel, played some good teams. So we'd like a few more wins, but we've got another opportunity again this week. So, yeah.
And I was speaking to, Jakey. Like when you look at it, kind of, I guess the silver lining. You came out of the toughest part of your season 2 out of 4. You went Cowboys, Broncos, Titans, and then someone else. So you're on the road the whole time, and coming out of it 2 out of 4 is pretty good. Like it's not as bad as people kind of made out.
Yeah, certainly. We played the Broncos and then Cowboys back to back. 2 grand finalists from last year, two top teams, and they're leading the way again this year. And for parts of them games we were in it, and we let ourselves down. So to come out with 2 wins from a long road trip, which it wasn't too bad, to be honest. We got ourselves back into the fight, and we've moved on from there now.
And in yourself, your own form, there was the Cowboys where you struggled a bit, and then the next few weeks you kind of really bounced back, and you found that kind of, it seems like you're more active in the game. And was that something that you kind of, with your own form this year, have you actively tried to, I guess, were you aware of, the team needed you to, you're pretty much the main man. Was that something you were aware of, or?
Yeah, like I said, we started very inconsistent as a team, and individually started okay, and then on the road there against obviously the Cowboys we struggled a little bit, and then against Brisbane, wasn't playing to my standards. And being the captain and the leader, you need to be better than that, and obviously it's a new role for myself being a captain now.
Pretty young captain too, like 26.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was always going to be a challenge, but something that I was really looking forward to. I think the biggest thing from it that you learn is you just got to worry about yourself first and worry about your job for the team. And I think I probably got away with worrying about how everyone else is doing first and foremost. And
did you get man of the match, Titans?
Yeah, after we had on the road against Brisbane and Cowboys, I knew myself just to worry about what I needed to do for the team, and from that, we had Titans and the Roosters. We played some okay football. And, individually was getting better week in, week out, and it's just about doing the job for the team.
And for yourself at 26 years old, obviously you're from England, Yorkshire. You were saying Is it Yorkshire or Yorkshire?
Yorkshire. That's what he said, but obviously they also say Yorkshire. My wife says the same thing, and it annoys me.
Oh really? All right. So Yorkshire.
Yorkshire. That's it.
So I guess. You probably haven't taken stock of it, but being a young English lad that loved footy, and now being a captain of one of the most prestigious clubs in the NRL with St. George, do you ever look back and think holy shit, this is a bit, this is a big achievement for a young guy from England that, when you come over here, there would have been he's from England, he hasn't experienced the kind of footy that Australia kind of has, and do you ever take stock of this is pretty big achievement?
Yeah. It's gone extremely quick. The past 8 or 9 years from when I first moved, but I certainly do look back, and I think in times when you're probably low on confidence, when you're struggling a bit, they're the times to look back and go, look where you sort of come from and what I'm doing. There'd be thousands of people out there who'd love to be doing what I'm doing today. So I do look back, and like I said, just a boy from Halifax growing up loving his football to pack up and leave and move to Australia, and to move to Melbourne, a place that we'd never been before, was a huge move. And I look back and I'm very lucky and fortunate to be where I am today.
And to move here at 16, that's a pretty tough age to move. You've got your mates, you're just starting to kind of figure yourself as a man. You're being introduced to new things. You know what I mean? So to move at 16 and have all your mates would have been back in England, you would have missed them. So a whole new country. Was that a tough period for you? Obviously moving to Melbourne and not having, you wouldn't have had any mates really in Australia.
Yeah, it certainly was one of the toughest, and I think that helps a little bit today as I'm a bit older to think, that was one of the toughest times, of my life. Moving away from all your friends and your family, you just started going out and growing up, like you said, becoming more of a man in England, and to leave it all behind, and obviously to move to Melbourne, to a place we're originally supposed to move up to Noosa, to Brisbane. We've been on holiday in the past, and that's where we're going to move. And 6 months out from moving, we got told we had to go to Melbourne.
Oh, really?
It was a bit of a shock.
Oh, bro, Noosa is way different to Melbourne.
And we'd never been, so in the end we hopped on a plane, came to Melbourne, and at the time didn't realise that rugby league, well, it was full of AFL down there. We just presumed Melbourne Storm being so successful that the rugby league was massive around Australia.
Really?
It's crazy. Yeah, so I got myself there and realised there was about 5 rugby league clubs, so we looked for the closest rugby league club that we found, which was the Altona Roosters, down in the western suburbs of Melbourne, and we bought a place close enough to that so I could go to training, and pretty much just went from there. I played a bit of local football, and Melbourne Storm under-20s was coming in the following year, and fortunate enough to get a gig from there, and life's gone on, and obviously met my partner down there, is now my wife, and I've got 2 kids with, so life's certainly gone quick.
It's just it's crazy to think that a young lad from England, you accidentally you were going to live in Queensland, like the footy capital of the world, essentially.
That's it,
Then you go to Melbourne, which is like nearly not as far from it, but nearly England. Like when you think about it, if you compare AFL to NRL in Melbourne, because Yorkshire was that's a rugby league kind of area.
Yeah. It's Yorkshire is generally, obviously you got your soccer over there, which is massive, but rugby league in Yorkshire is certainly very big, and that's all he knows as a kid growing up playing, watching your family play, and then to get to Melbourne to realise what's AFL. I've never seen this game before. Do you know what I mean? It was,
yeah.
And that's what made it hard for myself as a young kid.
Was you disappointed? Fuck, I might not have a chance here.
It certainly was, because part of the move over was my family, parents had always travelled, and better opportunity for me and my younger sister growing up, which was great. But to get here and then to realise something that I always wanted to do is play rugby league, and there was not much happening down there. Like I said, it was certainly hard, and luckily the under-20s was coming in the following year, which gave me a little bit of, I guess, something to work for, and try to get a contract there. And then obviously meeting my partner, was my wife now, Carly, it certainly definitely really helped, because there's probably stages there where I probably would have gone back home.
Oh, really?
Struggling a bit. So in the end, well, I guess things happen for a reason, and things have worked out, and now I'm in the gong.
Mate,
it?
How good is the gong?
It's good.
Far out. Because I'm from the Gold Coast originally.
Yeah.
And when I came down to play for the Dragons, met that good core group of guys at the Dragons. But just this living, the living style. There's no traffic, but you've got everything you need. The city's an hour away. Like, the Gong's a good joint to live. And so 2010 is when you made your debut. What was it like going from a kid that maybe 3 or 4 years ago was considering moving back to England to being a part of a Premiership? What was that like for you? Was that a head spin? Like, holy shit, like 3 years ago, I could have gone.
Yeah, it certainly was, and especially the club I was playing at with some of the superstars they had, with obviously Bill, Cam, Coops, GI, as the young kid coming through. Obviously I knew who they were from growing up in England, and 3 years later, making debut and playing alongside those guys was phenomenal, and it was great for my career. That's certainly where my career's been built from down there. They've got a great culture and great people, and I learned a lot. And like I said, playing with people like Cameron Smith, who's obviously captain of Australia, Queensland, done everything in the game. For a young person growing up, learning to become a man, he was certainly great to be around. And I had a lot of success down there, and my wife's from Melbourne, and her family are all still down there, so I've still got good ties down in Melbourne, and I enjoyed my time down there, but loving my time here in the Gong.
And when you said you were considering moving back to England, what was the plan? Was the plan like, all right, I'm going to move back to England and play Super League, or was it just, I'm just missing my mates and I want to be around my mates?
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. It wasn't even about, it was just about being around my mates, having friends go and hang out with, and before that, at the time I'd played a bit of rugby union. Just a lot of my friends had played rugby union, so I was just gonna the biggest thing, I just wanted to get back, be around my friends and family, and everything would take care of itself after that. But that was the main reason. But luckily, like I said, the under-20s came in and met my partner, and things clicked on, and moved on from there.
And you said rugby union. So did you play more rugby union than rugby league growing up, or?
No, I played rugby league since I was 4 or 5 years old. It wasn't until the last 2 years before I moved out here that I started playing union. A bit of union.
Yep.
You know, the fact is I knew that we were coming to Australia at some point, and why not? Bit of a change. And look, I really enjoyed it. And the time just before I was moving was actually at a rugby union school, and that was. You know, there was a chance of me staying there, not even actually coming out with my parents and having a scholarship there. Yeah.
Yep.
But you know, as a 16-year-old, you're not going to let your parents and your sister move. You know, it was a no-brainer. I was obviously going to come out. So, that was it. That was my time union. 2 years playing that.
Rugby union. I reckon you'd be pretty good at that. So, what was it like? You know, explain to, I guess, because a lot of people in Australia, we're so Queensland and New South Wales especially, we're so used to rugby league being the sport. What was it like being a young kid that was playing the small sport? You know, in England, you're playing the little brother sport, not even the little brother, like the baby cousin compared to soccer or football. What was it a struggle? You know, obviously you wouldn't have as much money poured into rugby league, so you wouldn't have as good a gear. You see the soccer kids that are going into these hectic academies, at a very young age. Like when I was over there playing soccer, as we spoke earlier, some of those Man United guys, they would literally be in the system at like 9 years old, train in the morning, go to school, come back and train again. What was it like as a kid? Did you ever, I guess, lose motivation in rugby league because you would look at soccer and see, like, why do these kids get all this mad? Like, you know what I mean? Was it ever like that for you, or not really?
It was. Yeah, certainly when you look at it in that aspect, you know, and especially from being a little town, Halifax, which within Yorkshire, you've got your Bradford, Leeds, which are the bigger towns. As a young lad growing up in Halifax and playing local rugby league in Halifax, it was very hard to get your scholarships at Leeds, at Bradford. It was certainly hard to make it to that next level. And you know, some of the conditions of the kids you're playing over there, we didn't have no indoor stadiums or anything. And I used to play as a kid in tracksuit bottoms with my socks pulled over and gloves. Do you know what I mean?
Tracksuit bottoms.
You know what I mean? When it's pissing down and it's dirty and it's muddy, and at half time we'd have the big transit van and all the kids would get in with the heaters, and then you look at the other side of it with the soccer, and they've got
heated grounds.
10 years, 11 years old, heated grounds, or indoors, own boots, lockers. You know, it certainly does make it hard, but I guess that's all part of growing up and the fun and running around with your mates and the pissing down rain and snow and
getting
stuff like that.
In a van at half time.
Yeah, just to warm up, get out of the rain and snow. And
wow.
Yeah, it was quite tough, but at the time we really enjoyed it. And
you
know, it was the opportunities to move on and play first grade as a boy from Halifax were quite tough. Like I said, the stronger towns like your Leeds, your Bradford, your Castleford, they were a lot bigger than Halifax at the time and had better systems in place. So for myself, it was, who knew if I never moved to Australia, who knew I could be a brickie or anything. I probably would not have made it professional. So
when was
quite fortunate. Yeah,
when was it? I guess when was the moment in your career or playing as a younger kid where you kind of like, because another thing as well as, when you could, I'd assume a lot of the English younger kids look to Australia and say, okay, that comp is much harder, much better, or whatever. I assume, I don't know. When as a kid, were you kind of like, I could make a career here, like, you know what I mean? Like I could be a professional footballer professional rugby league player, sorry. Was there a moment, or was it just kind of like, I enjoy footy, I'm going to keep playing it, whatever happens, happens?
Yeah, I think, as a kid, like any kid, you have aspirations of, if you're a soccer player, tennis player, whatever it is, you want to become professional at it. And that's all I ever wanted to do as a kid. And my team when I was a kid was Bradford Bulls. Back in England, obviously they were the powerhouse back then, and that's all I ever wanted to do as a kid was play for them. And then with the talk of emigrating with my parents and things like that, it was always, it's going to be a bit hard. But then I thought to myself, well, I'm going to Australia.
Even better.
Strong competition. Rugby league's huge over there. It's pretty much your number one sport. I've probably got more opportunity. I like to keep going back to it, but then we ended up moving to, instead of being Brisbane, we moved to Melbourne, where there was
AFL.
In saying that, it probably helped for myself because there wasn't that many rugby league players, that many rugby league teams. So the talent pool
didn't get lost in the system.
Yeah, it didn't get lost. There wasn't a lot of it. The 20s team I played in the first year, a lot of the guys were probably only 4 or 5 from Victoria. The rest of them were from New South Wales, Queensland. Like I said, it was probably fortunate I moved to Melbourne. It was a bit of an easier passage into the 20 system, and then just had to find my way through that. And
it gave you a chance to just get your foot in the door. Whereas like in Queensland, you might have 30 blokes that are already there, and they're like, "Oh, who is this young English lad that we don't know?"
That's correct. So like I said, it's probably looking back now, it's probably the best thing that happened to us.
Yep. Was there any, I guess, rivalry between the footy, the rugby league kids in England and the soccer kids? Like, did you ever have, I don't know, issues with each other or anything like that?
Oh, nah. No,
growing up,
not really. We just, obviously, at school, at lunch break, we'd always just play five-a-side soccer and give them a bit of a knockabout and stuff like
really?
that. But,
Yep.
Look, man, everyone, I think even most rugby league players, when you're growing up, you all play soccer, everyone.
Yeah, I used to get bagged all the time at school. Like, the rugby league players used to be like, you're such a pussy.
Well, that does go on. But like I said, everyone in England, I'm pretty sure at some stages kicked the soccer ball around.
Yep.
It's, like I said, number one sport, and it's good fun.
And what's the number one thing you miss from England, if there is anything that you miss from it, other than family, obviously? But is there a certain part of the culture that you miss from England, or is it pretty similar to Australia? But obviously, England being the kind of mother country, not so much these days, but it was originally. Is there certain parts of the culture of England that you miss, or you
there's little bits. It's sort of hard to pick ones. I think just being able to go a nice little country pub on a Friday afternoon, have a beer and play some pool and play a bit of darts, something like that. Maybe you sort of miss.
Because that's like pretty not common, but England is renowned for that country little pub with the whereas you wouldn't really. It's a lot different here in Australia just due to the weather, really.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like going out on a Sunday afternoon for a Sunday roast and a few beers, and it's snowing outside. It's cold, that sort of vibe. And obviously, the Yorkshire's a beautiful place, some beautiful nice, countryside and stuff like that. I miss a little bit, but I'm really happy out here in Australia. Like I said, I've got 2 young kids, and that's now, and for them to grow up, in a place like Wollongong, and it's just
we're so lucky.
Well, we are lucky. That's it. So.
That's something that I realised as well when I went over there. I was like, don't get me wrong, it was good over there, but in Australia, it's just we have so much opportunity, so much chances, and
that's it.
I
do miss some of the food. I miss a good proper.
Don't say blood pudding.
No, Indian curry, a proper good curry.
Oh, proper one. You don't make them here.
No, not up to standards for me. But and that and a fish butter and all with a nice big fish butter with tomato sauce on. I get a bit of stick for having tomato sauce with fish for some reason over here.
Really? I have it. I love it.
Mate,
I went over there and they gave me this black pudding, and I was like,
black pudding.
What the fuck is this? And they were like frozen blood or some shit. Yeah. And I was like, fuck off.
Yeah, my granddad has it all the time, and I can't eat that stuff.
And everything was like bacon and eggs. Everything. It was always bacon and eggs and fish and chips.
I think that's why I've got a shit rig. Growing up eating Yorkshire puddings and fish and chips.
Why does Jakey have a shit rig then?
Oh, I can't speak for it.
We were actually, me and Ewan yesterday were spraying him. Nah, we would.
He's got a worse body than me, and I've got a bad body. So he doesn't look after himself.
So yeah, when you got here, what was was there any trying times making that 20 system in the Storm? Were there times where they were kind of like, you needed to learn the game more, or you hadn't been put in a system that was as high quality as the Storm one, or was it kind of like you had the talent and they kind of saw that from the get-go?
Yeah, it was certainly difficult. I was, like I said, moving from England here originally was hard enough, and then to go in with a group of blokes who could barely understand me at the time.
Oh, really?
At the time, it was quite intimidating, to be honest. And a lot of these players come from Queensland and New South Wales, and I obviously played quite a high level even before the 20s. They're a lot bigger and stronger than myself, and like I said, it was quite intimidating. But to be fair, when I remember first day walking in under the 20s, there was 30 kids or whatever it was, and we all just got put on the same playing field, and everyone was equal, and it was just about working hard, doing what the coaches ask of you, and that's what I just tried to do from day one. And I had a massive opportunity of heading myself. A lot of my friends are still back home working, bricklaying, doing whatever. I had a good opportunity to make something of it. And at the time, I was obviously 20s part time. I was doing my pre-apprenticeship in carpentry as well, which got me away from football a little bit as well, which helped. And but I had a massive opportunity, and I took the most of it and kicked on from there. Did
you have to, because there is, I guess, a folklore or rumour, the Melbourne Storm, any rookie coming into the first grade squad has to work a full-time job whilst they do it. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true, and that was probably one of the hardest 2 weeks of my life, really. Coming into a club training down there is hard enough as it is. And then the 20s train just as hard as well. And the first 2 weeks, my first year in first grade was, I was up at this middle of summer, mind you, as well. So you're up at 4:30. You go in and doing 2 4K runs, and then you just go on site and you just labour for 8 hours. 8 hours. It's stinking hot. It's 35 degrees. Let alone I'm not used to the heat by this stage either. Going in and then finishing that, and then going back and doing a school session or a wrestling session, and that was for 2 weeks straight.
Mate,
and I've never slept so much after that.
Oh,
for 2 weeks,
mate. I don't know. Like, it's good in practice. Like, don't get me wrong. It's good to show the kids and these guys what you really have and how hard a 9 to 5 is. But far out, that would break some blokes.
It certainly has, and I think the club down there, Melbourne, that's why it's such a strong club.
They weed it out.
They find you out very quick, and then they test you. And I must admit, you do appreciate when I was going through that work, I was thinking, geez, working 8-hour shifts, 40 degrees, not much break, stinking hot. All we have to do is turn up in the morning for an hour's wait session, come back in the afternoon for 2 hours. It can't be that bad. So certainly testing times, and especially when you're sort of on the fringe of first grade, you haven't played, so you think, well, what am I doing this for?
And you're getting paid peanuts.
So, like I said, it's testing, and that's why I see a lot of kids these days, drifting in and out, and it is tough. But for myself, thankfully, I made it through that stage and kicked on and made a career. And
did they? Were you a part of any of the army camps that they had?
Yeah, that was.
How hard are they?
Oh, well, that probably gets even harder. Yeah, that's.
You can try and explain it.
Nah, you can explain it as many times as you want, but until you actually do it. And the thing is, I've seen a lot of boys like George Rose, Jason Riles. They've been playing for 10, 12 years.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter who you are, you go down there and they've had to do these camps, and they'll tell you how.
Mate,
it's sickly thinking how hard it is. No sleep for 3 days and just getting yelled at.
So 3 days is the longest one you did?
Yeah. About that 2.5, 3 days.
And we did at the Broncos 2006 when they won it.
Yeah.
We did a 6-day one.
Yeah.
Mate, it was like I can't even. Yeah, I mean, it was like I'm trying to explain how mentally draining it is.
It's impossible until you go out and do it and give it a crack. It's impossible.
Yeah,
I don't know if it makes you any better either.
Yeah, no way. But you know what? It did help me personally with the mental thing of like, if I can get through that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think back to it and I'm like, you know what? Like, I can get through some pretty hectic shit. You know what I mean? But in saying that, there's some players that they just don't excel in that environment. But then you put them on a footy field and they're fucking ridiculous. I honestly think that if you could, at one time in your life, do just one of those, like 2 or 3 days, it's a good reality check for a lot of people. But look at those SAS guys and like those.
Yeah, they're crazy.
They love it as well. They're happy the whole time.
Nah, you're not happy doing that.
Because we did another one at the Dragons actually, 2012. That was a tough one. So the Melbourne. So you were part of Melbourne from 2010 to 2012 or 13? 13. 13. So you would have been a part of the Premiership winning side.
Yeah. 2012,
2012. What was that like? Was that a buzz? Because you debuted 2 years before.
It was like I said, it was to make my debut. I did my time in the under-20s there and got a crack in first grade. And at the time I was playing fullback, and I was never going to come in at first grade with obviously Billy Slater being there. So, and Melbourne had a 5'8" for a while, and Brett Finch was actually there at the time, and he was getting to the back end of his career, and there was a few of us. I think it was me, Maurice Blair, Luke Kelly. He was pretty much said, listen, whoever puts the best foot forward is going to get a crack at number 6. And luckily I played a bit in 2010, and in 2011 started round 1 as the number 6, and then played the next 3 years there. And the 2011 was obviously my first full year playing 5'8" was great. I think we got knocked out by the Warriors, I think, in the prelim.
That's when they had that run.
Which was obviously devastating, but at the same time I was so excited for my first year playing with players, make it as far as we did. And obviously 2012 probably spurred us on a little bit from getting beat the year before. That year was incredible. 2012, just to win a premiership is just the best. Until you've done it, to describe the feeling of it, and especially for myself, it was quite I'll tell you a bit of a funny story with that one. My wife Kylie was pregnant at the time. She didn't have long to go, and they said, "Look, you probably shouldn't go to the game."
the grand final
the
match.
Grand final, yeah, obviously with Melbourne. So she's like, "Nah, I'm coming no matter what." So her and her parents, they got in the car and drove up. Obviously came to the game, watched the game. And after we had a few drinks, obviously after we won back at the hotel, and then that following morning we were on a flight back to Melbourne at about 9 o'clock. Carly got up whatever time, give her a kiss goodbye, or said I'll see you back in Melbourne. Obviously she was driving back that day.
Oh, because she couldn't catch a plane.
Yeah, because she couldn't fly, so they were driving back. Anyway, so I gets to the airport, get myself strapped in. I was messing around on my phone. Next me get a phone call. Carl, what's going on? Oh, I'm just on the way to hospital. What do you mean? She goes, oh, I'm just, I had to pull over on the side of the road. The ambulance had to come and pick me up. I'm about to give birth. I'm about to give birth. And mind you, I'm hungover and feeling sorry for myself. I stepped on a plane and I'm like, what can I do? She just said, just go back, have a good time, and that was it then. There was nothing I could do.
Yeah, you're on the plane already.
So anyway, I get back to Melbourne. I landed. I called her straight away. And as I called her, all I could hear was like a crying baby, and she goes, "Oh, I've had Harper, a little girl."
Oh,
so
yeah,
I just landed, and I was in shock. And she was born in Barrel, just up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
okay, yeah.
So obviously they only got an hour out of Sydney or whatever it was, and they had to pull over, and the ambulance came and picked her up from Barrel. And
okay, yeah.
Took her to the closest hospital at the time, and she said it was amazing. The girls there looked after her really well, and.
I mean, how good is that for you? Winning a grand final and having a beautiful kid.
Yeah, it was amazing. But the weirdest thing about it was, I got back and I was expected to be home, but obviously giving birth, it's obviously quite traumatic and that. So it took us three or 4 days to get back home. They kept stopping off on the way home, obviously because they were driving. Yeah. So when she got home and she turns out with my daughter, it was a little bit.
I mean, yeah, because you didn't see
crazy.
it happen.
It was a little bit. I know it was hard at first. Like they left without no baby. Now you've turned up with one. It's weird. It's very hard.
Forever.
It's very hard to explain the feeling. But yeah, it was a great week that week.
Oh, what a week! Like you win the grand final, so you pretty much you could retire that day and be happy. Yeah. And then you have a beautiful kid. Yeah. And that's crazy. That's so cool. And it's that you're right. It would have been so weird because you see your wife before you hug her, you kiss her, see you later, I love you, bye. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the next time you see her, she has your child, which is going to be a part of you forever. Yeah. That's it.
It was a connection. It was a little bit.
Man, that's crazy. That's sick. Anyway. That's awesome, man. I envy the week you had. Can't get you literally couldn't get a better week.
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
So just taking. Maybe back a year, you got called up to the England side. I think, was it before you even made your debut?
I played like 4 or 5 games.
Oh, okay, so you had made your debut?
Yeah, it wasn't many, and England were playing France, obviously mid-year, back in England, and so Steve McNamara at the time just gave me a call. So anyway, lucky enough, got Melbourne let me go back, and play. Which obviously an awesome week, getting to represent your country in front of your friends and family.
Was that the first time you'd been back?
No, I'd been back. I couldn't tell you how many times, maybe 2 or 3 times before.
Okay,
so I'd been back,
but still, I mean, you left your friends, you went to Australia, you kind of chased your dream, and then to be back there in that England jersey in front of your mates, that would have been a pretty special moment.
That was the best feeling about it was actually I'd moved out here, done all the hard work, and it paid off, and now I got to show my friends and family back home it was worth it. And
England, you're getting better. Getting better.
We are getting better.
I reckon give you 5 years or so, and because you look at New Zealand, like they'd beaten Australia the last 3 games, and yous had beaten New Zealand. Like, I know footy's different, but you had beaten New Zealand pretty recently as well. Yeah. And, you got yourself now, you got the Burgess brothers, the Super League seems to be getting a bit better.
Yeah, I think, obviously, the more people, English players playing in the NRL, playing against the better players, Australia and New Zealand, it's certainly going to help.
Because we just got more money to be putting into the NRL, whereas, as I said earlier, the Super League doesn't have as much.
Struggles in that aspect, the money aspect, to pump money into it, obviously, because we got the soccer and stuff over there is just huge. So it's...
I can't wait till there gets to a point where 6 or 7 teams are competitive. I just reckon it'll be such a that'll take the game to the next kind of step.
Yeah, that'll be certainly the best move. Whether that happens or not,
it's true.
With the money side of things, it's quite hard.
I hope, you look at Samoa, they seem to be the next kind of team to kind of be stepping up to that next level. But if you just give them because the thing is, if you can get money and invest it into those teams, then a lot of players that are Samoan, Tongan, Fijians, and PNG won't choose Australia over their country because the money is such a difference.
It's just the way it is. Yeah.
So hopefully, if you just get just enough money to make it a viable option, you take care of eligibility.
Yeah.
Eligibility becomes an issue.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree.
But so you win your premiership 2012, 2013 you played a full year. What was the kind of catalyst for coming to St. George? Was it you needed a fresh start? Was it you wanted maybe just to change things up? What was the catalyst?
Yeah, a few things. I think I've been at Melbourne since 2008. I think it was obviously 20s and then 3 years. So I'd been there a while, and I'd had quite a bit of success. World Cup Challenge, Premiership.
Yep.
I was about 23, 24, I think, at the
Played
time.
for your country as well.
So I'd certainly done a lot. There was a few things coming into it at the time. I just felt for myself and my career to take that next step. Playing down there was unbelievable, and I learned a hell of a lot. And but with Cooper obviously being down there, being such a dominant player within that team, I felt for myself to improve, test myself was to move on and take that, be that player within another team. And
because you got at least 3 or 4 players. Even you got Smith, him. You got Bromwich now as a captain, so there's a lot of responsibility that kind of trickles down.
Yeah, so it was just at the time, I just felt if moving on that I could do that. I could show a lot more of my ability within a different team. So that year was quite a difficult year for the fact of I had to make it to Melbourne. I moved from England, moved to Melbourne, settled in, got family life, everything was on track, and then to get up and move again. It was a big decision, especially now with 2 kids, no family up here in Sydney. Yep,
because you go from a tiny group of family in Melbourne to literally no one
up here. So that factor, especially with the 2 kids, was big. And then that year I dislocated my hip as well. So
I think I remember that.
Yeah, so that was quite scary as well. I'd already signed to come to the Dragons, but the fact of dislocating your hip, you never know how it could end your career. So that was quite a difficult year. And then the fact of I didn't want to end my Melbourne Storm career from an injury like that. Thankfully enough, we good physios and staff down there. I managed to get back and played the finals that year. We got knocked. I think we got knocked straight out. Actually, I think we lost back-to-back games to get knocked out. Anyway. It was great to get back and at least finish playing, but it was obviously disappointing to go out the way.
Yeah, because from an ex-player, obviously I keep track of the NRL and all that kind of stuff. Even me personally, there was always questions as to was Gareth Widdop as good as we thought he was, or was he just in that Melbourne Storm system? And I'm thinking that you kind of felt that you as you said, you wanted to kind of test your own ability and step out of that system and prove to everyone that it wasn't really it was your own ability. It was your own, and you've obviously proven that with how well you played the Dragons.
That was, I think a lot of people always say how people are going to leave when they leave, but I suppose being a half and a ball player, you're obviously always involved in the game, and I just felt I could offer so much more, and just back myself and my ability. And you have to back yourself and your ability, otherwise if you go into things with low confidence and not backing yourself, it's going to be hard for you. So that's pretty much what I tried to do, and it helped moving here with the lads we had at the time. A great set of lads, made me feel real welcome and settled in. And
it's a good crew here.
Yeah, so that certainly made it a lot easier.
Yep. And I guess what was there something about the Dragons that appealed to you? What was it? The fact that they'd lost Wayne Bennett and they were in a building phase. Was that something that appealed to you, that you wanted to be a part of that?
Yeah, that was obviously a big part, and just given a great opportunity to come and become a leader and a dominant ball player within a team was a major factor. And obviously the lifestyle and the location is a big part of of life, and that's half the reason I moved here.
Oh, it's such a good joint, What's I guess, obviously, other than the grand final, is there any kind of memory that sticks out to you that you did kind of, when it happened, it's, let's say you think of something positive in your footy career. What is it when you say, someone says, what happened good in your footy career? What, flashes in your mind? Is it holding the Premiership, trophy for the Storm? Is it a drop goal that you scored to win a game? Is there any memories that stand out for you?
It's very hard to beat just winning a Premiership.
Yeah.
Like it's ultimate in our sport. The NRL is a very tough competition, and to win it, that's obviously huge. It's very hard to sort of pick one. Obviously, represent your country, debuting for your country is huge as well. So playing at Wembley against New Zealand or Australia, like I've had it's probably it's very hard to just single one out. Obviously, the winning a Premiership is everyone's goal, and to do that, I think it was 23, 24 at the time, was huge.
What was that week of build-up like for you? What was there any kind of memories that you do remember of that week of build-up? Was it nerve-wracking? Were you, obviously you would have got to be getting a lot of messages from your friends, your family, your loved ones from back home, like, congratulations in the grand final. What's an overriding memory of that week of build-up to the grand final for you?
I think really exciting. I think the week before was the time when you're a lot more nervous, getting knocked out in the prelim, thinking, when you've won that, you're in the grand final. Anything can happen. And so I think exciting. We got up to Sydney a lot. Obviously, there's a fair bit of stuff you got to do. We got up to Sydney a lot earlier, and did a lot of obviously practice and training that week. And we're playing against a Bulldogs team who obviously were on fire. Benny Barr was on fire that year, so
good.
So we knew it was going to be a tough challenge, but I was still quite young then, so I had a lot of experienced players around me, so you just sort of lean off them. And like I said, it's just really exciting week for everyone involved, really. And
I guess you look back at your team now, and you're like, okay, of course they won the game. Like, because you had GI still then, or he had left?
GI had
left, but you had like guys like Chambers, Cronk, Smith, Bromwich was just coming through.
Yeah, we had Sisawaka, so we had
a gun side, Slater.
So we had a fair team back then.
And I guess what's been a good memory since you've come to the Dragons? You had that run last year where you won like 6 on the trot or something. You were top of the table for the first half of the year. What's been something that stood out for you since you've come to the Dragons in a positive kind of light?
Well, I think making the finals last year was a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Obviously, the club struggled for a few years and not played finals. So to get there and to see a lot of obviously the younger kids like Mitch Rand or Jack DeBellin, and they've played for a few years now and they've never experienced finals.
Yep, that's very true.
Never really known what it's like. I think it was massive for them. They know exactly what it's like playing finals now. They've experienced it and they want to kick on from that and go further. So, and obviously being named captain of the club is
massive.
It's obviously a huge. It's probably still a bit surreal, really. Probably until I finish, look back and go, geez, it's quite a big.
Oh mate, that's what I was saying to you. Like
big,
26.
Yeah, quite a big, especially for the brand. The Red V's massive.
Yeah.
It's such a big club. So obviously named captain. He's some great players have led this club before to get my name down, and it's a massive honour.
And take us back to your debut. What was that like for you? As in, obviously it was a big deal, but was it a phone call out of the blue? Was it expected? Had you been 18th man before? Because it says that you debuted in the centres.
Yeah.
In the centres.
Yeah, GI. GI was struggling with injury, and because I'd never played centre in my life before. So, but of course, as a young kid, you're just going to play whatever. Say, put you in the front row, you're going to play. So, it was quite. That year was quite difficult with a salary cap stuff that went on that way. So to debut was great, but to see some of the boys it affected was quite difficult. We've been in the club for a long time, but like I said, debuted in the centres and played a few games there, which was a bit different. And like I said, that year was a bit of a building process to obviously the next year becoming a 5-out and playing 5-out.
Because you had was it the 2012 Premiership that you had taken, or was it
the ones before?
The ones before that.
Yeah.
What was that like being a part of the team when that all came out? Obviously,
it was.
To have Premiership taken from you.
Yeah.
But in your mind, you'd be like, well, no, we won that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's for me. I was 19, 20 at the time. I remember the day I was at training, and then for it to all come out, just to see the players react the way they did, to see how obviously the hard work they've put in over the years, to see how distraught some of the players were. It was difficult. I didn't really know what to expect. Like I said, I was just a young kid. I was like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? It was hard, but in saying that, in such a great club they are, and the people have got, and the culture they have there, they turn things around very quickly. And
like 2012, you win it. Like, it's crazy.
So,
It's it was just shocking. Like when it all kind of happened, no one really. It just kind of came out. It felt like it came out of nowhere. Whereas like these other ones, you know, the Eels ones that's recently happened, that's kind of been a slow process, slowly. But where the Storm ones, maybe I just wasn't, you know, paying attention. But I felt like it was there. And you're like, what the fuck? What's going on here?
Yeah, like I said, I was a young kid. For me, I was just like, what's going on? I just, it was quite hard to comprehend, to be honest.
And when you did go back for your World Club Challenge, what was that like? Because you got named as in the squad, but you didn't play the first time you went back?
Yeah, that was like I think it was 2010 or 20. I can't remember. Beginning of 2010, maybe it was. Yeah, it was. It was beginning of 2010. We were supposed to play Leeds, and I think just an England lad going back there. I had to pretty much lie to all my family and to everyone, and I had to go do all the media as if I was playing, because between myself and Rory Kostjation at the time, who was going to play, because that 5'8" again position, or the bench position, they hadn't really had anyone. So I've pretty much gone back home. Everyone's like, how good's this, coming back home playing in a World Cup Challenge? I'm like, it's in the back of my head. I knew that
you weren't playing.
I weren't playing. So, that was probably one of the. Even though I didn't play, just that trip in general was one of the best trips I've had. It was, you know, like I said, I was still young.
You're going back to your mates, and you're like part of the Storm.
We had some good characters in the squad that year, and unfortunately the boys won that game. I didn't play, but luckily enough, a few years later, managed to go back and was part of the team to play Leeds again, actually, which we won again.
Did you? Is Leeds a club that you had any kind of rivalry over there, or not really? Because it would have been even better, I guess, feeling to go over and play a rival team from England. That
I guess as a Bradford Bulls support, when I was a kid growing up, Leeds was a massive rival, so it was I guess good. And also just to play Leeds, there's a lot of players in that team who, like Jamie Peacock, Kevin Sinfield, who was a young English lad. I idolised, so it was great to get to play against them. And
is there any players that came over? You know, I think was it Morley that came over from England?
Yeah.
Was there any players that you kind of looked at and said, okay, I can do that? Like, you know, these boys have gone over there, gone to the NRL, played really well. Was there anyone that you followed the kind of direction? Or?
I think because I didn't really look at it that way, because I wasn't solely coming at the time. I was still young to play rugby league, but you do, I guess, you look at it and go, he's an English lad. At the time, it wasn't common whatsoever, obviously, for English people to come and play. So I think Morley certainly was certainly a big part of spurring the English lads. You know, the most, I guess, senior, the most talented players in Sam Burgess, James Graham, to come over and play. He's definitely spurred them on, and now you see more and more people coming and do it, which is great.
Yeah, well, you got like a fair few now. You got obviously the Burgess brothers. You've got
there's about 10 or 11. Yeah, there's about 10 or 11 of us, I think, now playing in week out, which is obviously
it's not like, you know, a lot of those players are good. You know, good players like Graham. You know, is he captain?
Yeah, he's captain as well.
So, you know, you've got yourself captain, Graham captain. Burgess isn't captain, but I'm sure if he wanted to push for that captaincy role, he could probably get it. So, like, you are overrepresented as in, like, by the fact of you've got a small amount of people here, but high quality.
That's, and for people in the Super League, a lot of people probably aren't happy because the best players from the Super League are coming out and playing in the NRL, which obviously which is hurting the competition over there. But in saying that, for England Rugby League as a nation, for us to go forward and to be better, the more English players we do have playing out here is probably certainly going to help us. Yeah,
well, I mean, there's only so much you can do. You know, obviously the Super League is a great competition. You know, no disrespect to the competition, but if you really want to improve your career and improve as a whole, you can. There's a cap in the Super League at the moment because there's only so much money invested into it.
Yeah, that's it.
So there's only so far you can go with a certain amount of resources.
Yeah, 100%, and that's I think why we've improved the last few years with the players that have been out here getting to play against the high intensity week in, week out.
And What's been, I guess, the I kind of already asked you it, but match-winning drop goals. You've done a couple of them. What's been the one, your favourite one, where you've been like that was the best memory that you can kind of remember as a footy player?
I'm trying to think. I can't remember if I've kicked any match-winning field goals.
Really? I seen a mad one against the Warriors. You're already winning by.
Yeah, that was probably my favourite one, just because it was off my left foot.
It was off your left foot and you were off balance. Like you came past you here.
Yeah, you've got a bit of a dodgy pass and just. I think that, like I said, that's the soccer days. Just at school, just 100%. kicking a soccer ball around. That was probably one of the best ones. That
was sick because, as well as most footy players don't learn to kick with their other foot because they never really have to. Whereas soccer, you have to. You have to learn it. If you can't kick okay with your left foot in soccer, you're pretty much a dud forward or whatever.
I think drop goals. I think in terms of goals, I think last year was when the siren went against the Bulldogs.
Conversions.
I had to kick the conversion to take it to extra time. That was a pretty good. Pretty good
feeling. Walk us through. You're setting up the tee. You've got to equal up to to take it to extra time. What's going through your head? What are you thinking? What are the processes?
I've got James Graham stood about a metre away from me, just spraying me, going, "Sir, you can't move the tee there." Just trying to put me off, and I can't take him serious as it is. And he's there, and I'm laughing and carrying on, and I guess you just get back to trying to do your routine and.
So he was spraying you?
Yeah, it's typical. He likes to speak a lot, and he was just trying to, put me off, etc. And luckily I just went through my routine, and luckily it went through. Is
kicking something you've always kind of done? Is that something that you've always had a bow to your string?
And I think that, like I said, just growing up playing soccer and that, you're always kicking a football, etc. And growing up I did a fair bit of kicking. When I came into first grade, I obviously didn't do a lot with Cameron Smith being there. He was the main kicker, so I didn't really do too much of it if he was out, which he rarely misses a game. So
I reckon they said something like he's played over 20 games for 13 seasons in a row.
Yeah, so he's a machine. So,
mate.
Yeah, I didn't do too much down there, and then it wasn't. I came here and there wasn't too many actual goal kickers, and that was another something else that I really enjoyed doing and I wanted to do. So
is there anything outside of footy that you enjoy doing? Any hobbies? Do you you're a big movie buff? Xbox, PlayStation, PC, anything like that?
Golf. I like to get out and play golf when I can.
I'm terrible at golf, man.
Yeah, I'm at the moment. I'm really into my golf.
Yeah.
I just like getting out. Like I said, getting out, and I think golf's great for getting out and meeting other people.
Yep. Do any other boys play with you?
A few of the boys play. It gets a little bit hard because there's a few boys who live in Sydney and a few down here, so they want to shoot up after training, etc. But I've just met a few local guys. A few of my next door neighbours play a bit of golf, so it's just good to get out. Get away from football a little bit.
Yeah, and especially when you are playing golf, mentally you're completely focused on what you're doing, so it's just not in your head.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's certainly get you away from thinking football, because that's all we do every single day. So that's 100%. My sort of try to get out on the surfboard a little bit, which doesn't happen
on the surfboard.
doesn't happen too often. And that's.
Is that something that you enjoy? Did you have beaches that you wouldn't have had many beaches there, really?
Nah.
The ones I saw were terrible. Yeah. They were like, we've got this great beach. In a Pommy accent, actually. They're like, let's go to the beach.
Yeah, nah, we.
This isn't a fucking beach. This is pebbles.
Yeah, that's it. Now there's certainly nice beaches here, and I want just down the road, so I just for a bit of mess around, mate. That's more than anything, just to try to get away from football, I guess.
And do you think that there's anything that rugby league could kind of learn from, soccer or football in England, with the professionalism and the training and obviously all they have more resources, but is there some things that you think that rugby league could learn from it when it comes to maybe rules changes or production? You know what I mean? Is there any things that you for example, I'm sure there are things we could take away from the NFL when it comes to training and science and all that kind of stuff. Is there anything in the EPL that you I guess could transfer well to footy at all, or not really?
I think each and every year there's the sports science side of things are improving, and I think a lot of clubs now do that, do a lot of research and go visit NFL clubs and EPL clubs, but the biggest factor is just money. Them guys have got endless amounts of money and cash.
Crazy.
For the NRL it's a little bit different, so I think it's certainly going in the right direction, and as long as they just this. I think the biggest thing, if we can just keep the grassroots, keep the systems in place for the young kids growing up, giving them as much opportunity as possible, it's only going to make the game stronger moving forward. I think it's a big thing.
And for yourself, looking forward in your career, is your kind of, not dream, but has Australia become so much of your home that when you are 30 and you're playing good footy, would you rather stay here and play footy, or would you like to go home and enjoy the fruits of your labour? You've grinded here for 10 years, 12 years or whatever, but England is, you did grow up there till you were 16. It would be great to go back and play there.
Yeah, I've said it before, I'd love to go back and play at some stage, just for the fact of, I grew up there, and that's all I ever wanted to do. But in saying that, you never know with football what can happen. I really enjoy it back here, and I'll stay out here. I've got, like I said, two kids and stuff. Although I miss my family, I've really not got a lot to go back to. Yeah, my lifestyle here is a lot better. So maybe late down the track, I might do, I might not.
Yeah,
I'm certainly very, very happy here in Australia. So we'll just play it by ear and see where we go, really.
And ask all the boys this. I'm not sure if you're a rapper fan, but favourite rapper of all time.
Oh, I like Eminem.
Yes,
yeah.
It's 3 M&Ms in a row.
I don't know. Yeah, he was probably one of the first sort of rappers I listened to. I don't mind 50 Cent. One of my friends gave me. I wasn't really into sort of rapping. One of my friends gave me a 50 Cent album back. When I was younger, so I didn't mind him for a while. But
man,
there wasn't many people when I was growing up in England like rap.
What was it like over there?
Oasis and
all that
sort of stuff. A bit
more punk kind of.
Yeah. So there wasn't.
Not punk, but
there wasn't too many people into rap. I must admit, I used to get a bit of stick at school because I went out and got a diamond earring.
I have one too, bro.
Yeah,
so gay. Oh my god.
I went out and got one of them and listened to a bit of rap, bit of Eminem, bit of 50 Cent and stuff like that. So I got a bit of stick for that.
Bro, I used to wear like a mad champion shirt. It was like orange and spray Nike pants.
Yeah, it's fashion back then. I look back and think, what were we doing?
My god. And favourite movie of all time?
Shawshank Redemption.
Oh really? You've had that before? I've had a few of them.
I watched that the other day actually. To be honest, I'm not a massive movie fan.
Oh really?
No,
I love it.
I haven't got the patience to just sit there for an hour now. Yeah,
are you an active kind of guy?
Yeah, I like to sit down and be lazy at times, but I don't know, just sitting and focusing for an hour and a half on a movie. If it doesn't get me like that, then
you kind of brush it.
Whatever.
I was going to say, what would you do if you weren't playing footy? What do you reckon? Would you be PT? Would you be into sport no matter what, or do you think that you would be?
I think I'd probably be a builder, like a carpenter or something like that.
Oh, so you enjoyed that when you did it?
I didn't mind it when I was doing it at the time, so that's all. At the time, that's what I was doing, so that's what I wanted to be. I think somewhere along them lines, yeah.
Because I did 3 years of industrial electrician, an electrician, but I was in industrial and above ground mine, and then at the coal terminal before this. I was working like 60 hours there and doing this on the side at the start because obviously no sponsors, but it fucking sucked, bro. It was so fucking.
I know
bad.
that's the thing with football. You go through some tough times, and when you look back at it, you think, well, I could be working long hours, 9 to 5, whatever it is, every single day, slogging away, digging holes. So literally, it can't be too bad.
I got a picture of me digging holes, literally, and it was like 4 months ago. And it's when I look at it, because I do this full time now, I look at it and I'm like, oh fucking thank God.
Yeah. So like I said, you go through tough times in rugby league at times. You got to perform week in, week out, etc. But when you look back, it's only really a short career, and could be doing worse things, I guess.
Oh, bro. And what's the most annoying thing about us? What's the most annoying thing in Australia that you've that bugs you? As in, that's not the way. It might be what we call eskies or thongs. Or something you're like, that is not the way you say it. This is the way you say it.
There's a few actually. I'm just trying to think of one off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think of England. It's some commie slang. What's I guess people don't realise that in different parts of England, there's different accents. Whereas in Australia, it's not really like that.
Nah, in England, there's that many. Yeah, there's. One thing that does. When I first moved here, when an Aussie speaks at the end, they say "but" at the end. But what? But what?
Yeah, what? Yeah. What about Pommies say nah? Or nah?
I don't think so. I might probably do it now because I've been here for a while.
Been here too long.
The biggest thing when I moved here, in England growing up, if I was to meet you, are you alright?
Yeah.
And people look at that. Do you mean I'm all right? Yeah, I'm fine. Why? What's wrong?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Why you ask if I'm all right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. How you going?
Is that how you going? You're right.
Yeah, like, you're all right. And I still say it now. They still, yeah, I'm all right. Why? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
these all sorts of little things.
Little things like that.
Or we call fizzy drink here. Like back home, we call it. Have you got any fizzy pop?
Fizzy pop?
Yeah.
That's shit.
Yeah, so...
That's so shit, bro. It's not fizzy pop. It's fizzy drink.
It is. It's fizzy. I actually don't know where you get the pop from, but it's a pop, bubbles pop. But
have you got any mad like Aussie jokes, like the fact that we're all convicts, English convicts? Is there any?
No, I don't actually. I've probably sort of missed that. I was 16 when I moved, so it's like a little bit.
Yeah. All right, bro. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been interesting.
No dramas.
You're killing it. I love watching you play, and hopefully you boys get the win tomorrow night against the Rabbitohs.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, brother.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me. Been awesome.
This Wednesday, Origin Game 2, Moneyball.com.au is throwing a $10,000 guaranteed prize pool, $15 entry. To support the show, go to Moneyball.com.au and sign up today.